Hi everybody and welcome to Introductory Researching. Let's begin. Without a doubt, the ability to research effectively is the most important quality for a hacker to have. By its very nature, hacking requires a vast knowledge base, because how are you supposed to break into something if you don't know how it works? The thing is, no one knows everything. Everyone, professional or amateur, experienced or totally new to the subject, will encounter problems which they don't automatically know how to solve. This is where research comes in, as in the real world, you can't ever expect to simply be handed the answers to your questions. As your experience level increases, you will find that things you're researching scale in their difficulty accordingly. However, in the field of information security, there will never come a point where you don't need to look things up. This room will serve as a brief overview of some of the most important resources available to you, and will hopefully aid you in the process of building a research methodology that works for you. We will be looking at the following topics: an example of a research question, vulnerability searching tools, and Linux manual pages. Let's begin. Okay, and now let's click on completed and move on to the next task, which is example research question. We'll begin by looking at a typical research question, the kind that you're likely to find when working through a CTF on TryHackMe. Let's say you've downloaded a JPEG image from a remote server. You suspect that there's something hidden inside it, but how can you get it out? How about we start by searching for hiding things inside images in Google. Notice that the second link down gives us the title of a technique: steganography. You can then click the link and read the document, which will teach you how files are hidden inside images. Okay, so we know how it's done. Let's try searching for a way to extract files using steganography. Already, virtually every link is pointing to something useful, and they have actually searched for it, of course, here, as we can see in the image. So, as I said, or as I read, already virtually every link is pointing to something useful. The first link contains a collection of useful tools. The second is more instructions on how to perform steganography in the first place. Realistically, any of these links could prove useful, but let's take a look at the first one. The very first tool there looks to be useful. It can be used to extract embedded data from JPEG files. Exactly what we needed to do. This page also tells you that StegHide can be installed using something called apt. Let's search that up next. Great, so apt is a package manager that lets us install tools on Linux distributions like Ubuntu or Kali. How can we install packages using apt? Let's search it. Perfect. Right at the top of the page, we're given instructions. We know that our package is called StegHide, so we can go ahead and install that. Now let's switch back to the collection of steganography tools we were looking at before. Did you notice that there were instructions on how to use StegHide right there? Yes, we see that right here, or it was actually up here. Let's see, where was that? Right there, right? And yes, of course, they have the screenshot right here, zoomed in. Okay, so there we go. That's how we can extract an image from a file. Our research has paid off, and we can now go and complete the task. Notice the methodology here. We started with nothing, but gradually built up a picture of what we needed to do. We had a question: how can I extract data from this image? We searched for an answer to that question, then continued to query each of the answers we were given until we had a full understanding of the topic. This is a really good way to conduct research. Start with a question, get an initial understanding of the topic, then look into more advanced aspects as needed. Now it's your turn. See if you can answer the following questions using your research skills. The first 3 questions have appropriate search queries in the hints. Okay, so let's begin. In the Burp Suite program that ships with Kali Linux, what mode would you use to manually send a request, often repeating a captured request numerous times? Okay, so let's go to Google and let's search for manually send a request burp suite mode. Okay, this is what I'll do personally, so I'm not going to use the hints. So manually, let's see, manually send a request burp suite mode. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, and as we can see on the result page, the mode is called repeater or burp repeater, right? We can see it right here right away. So let's type that in. Repeater, and we submit. Perfect, so I was correct. And now let's answer the next question. What hash format are modern Windows login passwords stored in? Okay, so let's find out. You can go to Google and search for, let's say, hash format Windows. And we can see the answer already in the first result right here. So the answer is NTLM. And now if you wonder how do we know that, that the answer is NTLM and not LM? Well, I've already visited this website before and I learned that the LM algorithm has been replaced by the NTLM algorithm. So the answer is NTLM. And you can go to the to this website. Here is the URL to the website that you see on the screen, and you can go check that out yourselves. So but I've already done that, so I don't want to waste time into the video and open the website and read through everything. Okay, you can do it by yourselves. So the answer is NTLM, as I said. So let's type that in here, NTLM. Okay, and we click on submit and move on to the next question, which is, let's see, what are automated tasks called in Linux? Okay, so I can actually just, copy that right away, and we can paste it right here and press enter. And here is our answer. So cron jobs. So let's type that in. Cron jobs like this, and we submit. Okay, and what number base could you use as a shorthand for base 2 binary? So I can again just copy that and paste it right here. And let's see, and here is our answer right away, base 16. Okay, so let's type that in, base 16 like this. Let's see, I think we need space like this, and we submit. Okay, and now let's answer the final question. If a password hash starts with what we see on the screen, so a $, the number 6, and a $sign again, what format is it? And we can just again copy the whole thing and paste it right here in the Google search bar, and press enter. And we have our answer right here. So already in the first link, we can find the answer. Again, you can check out the link, the website yourselves. The URL is the one that you see on the screen. And the answer is SHA-512 crypt. Okay, so if you open the link, you can find out what the answer is. So again, I don't want to waste time of the video. So check out the URL, and I'll just paste the answer right here. So SHA-512, then space, and then crypt like this, and we submit. And now we can move on to the next task, which is vulnerability searching. Often in hacking, you'll come across software that might be open to exploitation. For example, content management systems such as WordPress, Vue, CMS, Ghost, etc. are frequently used to make setting up a website easier, and many of these are vulnerable to various attacks. So where would we look if we wanted to exploit specific software? The answer to that question lies in websites such as ExploitDB, NVD, and CVE MITRE. NVD keeps track of CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exposures, whether or not there is an exploit publicly available. So it's a really good place to look if you're researching vulnerabilities in a specific piece of software. CVEs take the form CVE, year and ID number. ExploitDB tends to be very useful for hackers, as it often actually contains exploits that can be downloaded and used straight out of the box. It tends to be one of the first stops when you encounter software in a CTF or pen test. If you're inclined towards the command line interface on Linux, Kali comes pre-installed with a tool called SearchSploit, which allows you to search ExploitDB from your own machine. This is offline and works using a downloaded version of the database, meaning that you already have all of the exploits already on your Kali Linux. Let's take an example. Say we are playing a CTF and we come across a website. Well, this is quite obviously Fuel CMS. Usually it won't be this obvious, but hey, we'll work with what we got. We know the software, so let's search for it in ExploitDB. Note, I'm going to use the command line interface in Kali, as it tends to be quicker from a workflow perspective. However, you're welcome to use the website. I'm using the command searchsploit fuel CMS to search for exploits. If you prefer doing things in the website, here are the results from there. Okay. Success. We've got an exploit that we can now use against the website. Actually, using the exploit is out with the scope of this room, but you can see the process. If you click on the title, you'll be given a bit more of an explanation about the exploit. Pay particular attention to the CVE numbers. You need them for the questions. The format will be like so: CVE, year, number. Note, CVE's numbers are assigned when the vulnerability are discovered, not when they are publicized. Bear in mind that if a vulnerability is discovered at the end of a year, or if the process of confirming and rectifying the vulnerability takes a long time, then the release date might be the year after the year in the CVE date. Bear this in mind when answering the following questions. Okay, now let's answer the questions. What is the CVE for the 2020 cross-site scripting vulnerability found in WordPress forums? Okay, so let's find out. Let's open ExploitDB. Like this. Let's close Google. We don't need it anymore. Okay, and now we are going to search for WordPress forms. So let's just close this real quick like this. Okay, and now let's type in WP forms like this, and let's see what we get. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we need to click on here is this one, and we open it. Takes a little bit of time. And here is our answer. Okay, so let's type that in. So let's go down here. There you go. And we type in CVE. Then we have, let's say, where is the dash, like this, and then 2020 dash, oops, my bad, dash 10385, like this, and we submit. Perfect. Okay, and now let's answer the next question. There was a local privilege escalation vulnerability found in the Debian version of Apache Tomcat back in 2016. What's the CVE for this vulnerability? Okay, so let's find out. Okay, so what we need to search for, let's go back here, and what we are going to search for is Apache Tomcat. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Tomcat, like this. Okay, and let's wait for the results. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so it's the year was 2016, right? Yes, it was. Okay, so we have 2016, two of them, and the one we're looking for is this one, right? Debian-based distros. Okay, so let's open that. Let's see. And here is our answer right here. Okay, so let's type that in. So CVE, oops, I'm at the wrong place. Okay, CVE dash 2016 and then 1240 like this, and we submit. Perfect. And now, what is the very first CV found in the VLC media player? Okay, so let's go back to exploit DB and search for VLC. Okay, and now what we can do here is click on date to sort vulnerabilities by date. And we have our answer right here. So we can click on that. And there is the answer, right? Okay, so let's type that in. CVE-2007 and then 0017 like this. Perfect. And now if you wanted to exploit a 2020 buffer overflow in the sudo program, which CVE would you use? Okay, let's find out. So we go back here and let's search for sudo. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Buffer overflow. Okay, it's not on this page. Let's check out the next page. And here it is. Okay, so let's click on that. And here is our answer. Okay, so let's type that in. CVE-2019-18634. Okay, and we submit. Perfect. And now let's move on to the next task, which is manual pages. If you haven't already worked in Linux, take a look at the Linux Fundamentals module. And I've already done walkthroughs of all of the Linux Fundamentals rooms. So part 1, part 2, and part 3. So you can find them, yeah, you can find them on the channel if you haven't watched them already. So let's continue. Linux, usually Kali Linux, is without a doubt the most ubiquitous operating system used in hacking, so it pays to be familiar with it. One of the many useful features of Linux is the inbuilt man command, which gives you access to the manual pages for most tools directly inside your terminal. Occasionally, you'll find a tool that doesn't have a manual entry. However, this is rare. Generally speaking, when you don't know how to use a tool, man should be your first port of call. Let's give this a shot. Say we want to connect to a remote computer using SSH, but we don't know the syntax. We can try man SSH to get the manual pages for SSH. And we can see in the description the syntax for using SSH. We can also use the man pages to look for special switches in programs that make the program do other things. An example of this would be that from our very first example, stack hide can be used to both extract and embed files inside an image based on the switches that you give it. For example, if you wanted to display the version number for SSH, you would scroll down in the man page until you found an appropriate switch, and then use it. Another way to find that switch would have been to search the man page for the correct switch using grep, like they are showing us down here, right? Now your turn. Answer the following questions using the man command. Okay, so first let's start the attack box. So start like this, and we can close that and just give it a moment. Okay, let's press enter here like this and open the terminal. There you go. And now let's see what the first question is. SCP is a tool used to copy files from one computer to another. What switch would you use to copy an entire directory? Okay, so what we need to type in the terminal is just man and then SCP. And then we press enter, and now we have to scroll down until we find the answer. So let's see. I actually already know the answer, but let's scroll down anyways. Here is our answer, right? So -R. Okay, so let's type that in. So -R like this, and we submit. There you go. And of course, you can also use grep to find the switch, and the way you do it is like this. I can show you real quick. Okay, so we go inside here, type in man SCP. Let's see. There you go, and then grep -E, and then the double quotes, and then we can type in copy entire directories. Let's see, directories. I don't know if I spelled that right. I think I did. Copy entire directories. Okay, we press enter, and here is our answer right away, right? Okay, so let's continue. fdisk is a command used to view and alter the partitioning scheme used on your hard drive. What switch would you use to list the current partitions? Okay, so what we need to do here is just type man fdisk. And again, we are just going to scroll down until we find the answer, which I already know. Already know what the answer is, by the way. So, and here we have it. So -L. Like this, and we submit. And I know I could have just written the answer here, but it's important for me to show you how you find those answers. So that's why I actually do everything, even though I know the answer, okay? And hope that's okay for you guys. So let's continue. Nano is an easy-to-use text editor for Linux. There are arguably better editors, Vim being the obvious choice. However, Nano is a great one to start with. What switch would you use to make a backup when opening a file with Nano? Okay, so let's exit this right here first. Oops, like this. Okay, let's try again. Exit. Okay, and what we need to do here is just type man nano like this. And again, we are just going to scroll down until we find the answer, which is this one. So dash and capital B. Okay, so let's type that in. Dash and capital B like this, and we submit. Okay, and now the last question here. Netcat is a basic tool used to manually send and receive network requests. What command would you use to start Netcat in listen mode using port 12345? Okay, so here we are going to use two switches, by the way, okay? And what we need to do here, let me just exit this like this. What we can do here first is type man netcat or just nc like this. Okay, so let's do the man nc. And now we are going to scroll down until we find the first switch, which is -L, okay, to start netcat in listen mode. Okay, so let's type that in. Or, you know what, let's wait a little bit, okay? So first, remember, -L is the first switch, okay? And now we need to specify the source port that, Netcat is going to use, right? So for that, we are going to use a switch that we can find right here. Where is the switch? There you go, the -P switch, okay? Okay, now let's type in the answer, okay? So we type in NC first, then -L, then -P, and then the port number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, not 6, but 5. Like this, and we submit. and we are correct. Okay, so now let's move on to the last task, which is final thoughts. You may have been told in school that there are good sources and bad sources of information. That may be true when it comes to essays and referencing information. However, it's my pleasure to state that it does not apply here. Any information can potentially be useful, so feel free to use blogs, Wikipedia, or anything else that contains what you're looking for. Blogs especially can often be very valuable for learning when it comes to information security, as many security researchers keep a blog. Having completed this room, you hopefully now have established the basis of a methodology to tackle research questions that you come across by yourself. The vast majority of rooms on TryHackMe can be solved purely using knowledge found on Google, so please take the opportunity to improve your skills by Googling any problems you come across. As a follow-up to this room, complete CMnatic's Google Dorking room to learn some advanced Google tricks. Okay, and let's click on complete it. And we are done with this room. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you give the video a thumbs up. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on TryHackMe. Okay, everybody, talk to you next time.